PETA, podcast every day in April, where during the month of April you'll hear about different topics and different stories and discussions that I have on my mind and on my heart to discuss and address for this month. It may be sports related, it may be stuff related. You may even hear some guests on the show that you may haven't even seen or heard from me addressing on the show. But this is PETA, and this is Podcast Every Day in April. Hope you enjoy. Episode 167 of The Past is here. I'm your host, BT, back with yet another episode for the daily podcast for April. We are doing a podcast every day for this month. We're not going to give you a bunch of fluff and bluff. We're just going to go ahead and jump right on into it. Of course, I still have to do my mini promo. If you're looking to get into podcasting, Spreaker.com. That is the source. If you're looking to get a good microphone, I use the Blue Yeti mic. And also, the music you hear in the intro and outro are thanks to Grimecraft. And finally, if you do want to listen to any of the shows, you can go to pastpodcast.com to pull up any of the previous shows. Not gonna really bore y'all with all the extracurricular. We'll hop into this topic because this is a topic that has kind of become near and dear to me for the past couple of weeks, and I am a strong believer in the validity of it. Now, you can agree with it, you can disagree with it, and I completely understand. But there are two types of people in the world with determination and with, of course, extra adages to it. There are those who are drivers and there are those who are passengers. In our lives, we find ourselves becoming very driven, very forthcoming, and very outgoing in who we are. We also have our moments where we have a tendency to shy from the light, hide from opportunities that are meant to be ours, missing out on moments to possibly shine, multiple options, things of that nature, and how that occurs. What I'm here to share with you all and what I want to address in this podcast today is, whether you realize it or not, it's not a bad thing to be one, the other, or have a mixture of both. I'm speaking about this openly, but it's a general observation that I've had, and I've seen it over years, but I've really seen it more recently. A lot of times there are some of us, or there are some people who are very great at, kind of leading, being kind of like the leader of the group or the leader of the show. In hindsight and in theory, they mainly like to have control of their lives and control of their routine. The challenge behind that is, on the surface, it seems like everything's under control, but the harsh reality of it is, most cases, it's not. These are your drivers. And I'm not going to hold any punches about that. I'm not going to have any regrets of what I'm saying. And I'm not here to make it as if it's not that I'm 100% accurate in this statement. Sometimes in life, you have to take the lead. I'm all for it. There are some people who take the lead, but they take it in a very quiet approach, and it's not as boisterous. That doesn't knock them from not being drivers, but they know when to publicly present themselves as being the driver. The other side of it, and the infamous term that a lot of us are, is some of us just live life. We just kind of go through the motions. We're on autopilot. We kind of just do what we need to do. We ain't really trying to be in nobody's way. We don't want to cause any rift, any friction, any tension. We really are out there trying to be caring and nurturing and make everything seem okay, despite how it may really be going on. Those are the passengers. Sometimes being a passenger can cause you to be passengers almost can come off in the equivalent of being passive, or as the term usually is called, passive aggressive. An aggressor, in a lot of instances, can be a driver. I make this reference and I joke about this very frequently. My mom has heard me talk about this. I've said this to a lot of my friends who are in the same category. A lot of people who are Leos by nature that I personally know are point guards or leaders. They are very good at delegating, at telling everyone to what needs to be done, where to go, what to do, X, Y, and Z. No problem with that at all. The issue behind that is because they're so great at delegating and giving ideas and tasks to everyone else, they leave themselves short in the long haul. It kind of ties into the drivers and passengers, but it more so just ties into knowing when to when to run the show and when to kind of take time in running your show. It's never a bad thing to be a leader. Let me go ahead and state that now before anything gets misinterpreted in what I'm saying or what I'm sharing with you in this podcast. Leaders, a lot of times, have to be aggressive. Being aggressive can kind of tie into that driver state of mind. I have no kink or no knock of that whatsoever. Many times you need someone to be that forceful source in your life. We hate it, but we need it. Sometimes we have to be called on our bullshit. I know for me, it's there are moments that I have to be brought back to earth. And being brought back to earth sometimes can be worse than being humbled. And you may not realize it, but it is. I just wanted to hop on the mic and make this one of the topics. And I'm doing it a little earlier than expected, but not necessarily. But I wanted to talk about it strictly because whether we realize it or not, drivers are very resourceful to the world. Me, myself, I'm a driver. I just drive different. I'm almost like it's kind of a weird analogy to put it, but the first thing I can think of, I'm the old lady slow driver who takes forever to get stuff done, but it gets done. At times that can be good. Other times it can be the worst thing in the world, because there are some things that shouldn't take as long to get done that I put off or delay or don't prioritize because it's what I feel isn't important in that moment. And at times that's okay, but in hindsight, it's not healthy. That much I will attest to. I'll account for that. The other side of it, and this is something that I have coming up in one of my blogs to discuss and address. As much as we may want to be in go mode and run and get things done, sometimes we have to slow down. It's that balance of an imbalance, as far as it's not a bad thing to be in go mode, but you also have to be in go mode at a steady pace. Because if your pace is if you're not pacing yourself and you're going too far ahead of what you're trying to get done, it can sometimes turn into a snowball effect. So I'm gonna make this kind of a starting, a closing, and I know it's kind of like a quickie, but it's just a true statement that I'm kind of set on and having on my mind. Being a driver is not the worst thing in the world. Being a passenger is not the worst thing in the world. As a driver, you have to know and acknowledge that you're a driver, first and foremost. Once you can acknowledge that you're a driver, don't take to heart if someone who may not be at your driver status or has the drive or push that you have may be helping you to see that it's not the worst thing in the world to slow down. Passengers. Being a passenger and sitting back in the background sometimes is cool. It can give you a chance to kind of observe, which I'm guilty of. I will tell people to this day, I sit back and watch, because most times who and what goes on is going to all tell itself, and then you can kind of figure out how to blend into it. But if you're a passenger too long and you sit back and see too many things, you might miss something. Nothing in this world is going to be given to you, But just because you worked hard and earned it doesn't mean that you have to go extremely out of the way to uphold and maintain it. So that's what I'm going to leave y'all with for this show. I hope everyone has enjoyed the flow that we've had for our daily shows. If you did not have a chance to listen to episode 166, please tune in to that show. That's all I'm going to really tell you. I will be doing these each day for the month of April. We're creeping slowly into that halfway point where it gets kind of fun. So I will be keeping an eye on that as well. But as always, this is the pass. Be sure to check my link tree. That's linktr.ee/pass podcast. You can get the links to everything. The only link that's not there is Snapchat, because it's really not a big need to put it there, because it'll mainly just send you to the image. But everything else that you need to get to, all of my social media is there. On that note, y'all take it easy, be blessed, stay positive, and I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. The one point of the show I don't like to reach, but every show must have an ending. So you have made it to the end of yet another episode of the podcast Every Day in April. Continue to tune in. These will be going on from April the 1st until April the 30th. And I will guarantee you that there will be plenty of content and more than enough information to share and address during this show. Thanks for tuning in.